Hello, and welcome back. Welcome back to Commentaries. Crane Kick Commentaries. As always, I am Jake Del Mastro, and I am joined by my very good friend, Keaton Byer. Hello, Keaton.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
You ready to talk about Goldfinger?
I am ready to talk about Goldfinger. Where did you want to start?
So last time we talked about the background of James Bond and Ian Fleming and all that
His
nonsense.
antics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this week we're actually going to talk more about the movie and the making of the movie. But I figured, why don't we start by, because we were just listening to it, let's just talk about that music a bit.
Yes. Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, I feel like, it's a reasonably high bar to be, a James Bond intro song.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the songs that set that bar.
Exactly. So, the soundtrack was generally done by composer John Barry, and the title track features vocals by the legendary Shirley Bassey.
Yeah. And
Is it Bassey or Bassey?
I don't know, actually.
I want to say Bassey because it's like music and but that could be incorrect.
I think it might be Bassey. I'm not sure though. And the guitarist Vic Flick, who also did the original James Bond lick. Guitar
yeah,
lick.
The this thing. There's your Vic Flick action there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a few fun facts about this soundtrack.
Right. So as we know, Vic Flick was not the only guitar player on that soundtrack, correct?
No, there was another guitar player. I believe it's pronounced Yimmy.
So James Patrick Page, also known as Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin fame,
Yeah.
he played guitar on the soundtrack, according to his buddy John Paul Jones, also of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, who also played on the soundtrack.
Who also was playing bass on the soundtrack. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's really interesting, because this is obviously pre-Led Zeppelin. Was this Yardbirds era?
I don't know. Let's find out. Yardbirds. When did they form? They formed in 1963, but when in 1963?
Right.
Is it late May 1963? So yeah, I think they would have just been a thing.
Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, just interesting fact, British session musicians working on a British soundtrack,
Yeah, and on top of that, which was it? The main theme was produced by
right, none other than George Golden-Ears Martin,
the fifth Beatle.
The fifth Beatle, yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know who George Martin is obviously famous for having been the producer of, I think, almost every, if not every, Beatles recording.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be every.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's every. But yeah, often known as the fifth Beatle. Sorry, I think we incorrectly introduced Sir George Martin.
Yeah, Sir George Martin. Not at the time, though.
He was not at the time, but I think even retroactively you are supposed to say that.
Okay. I mean, there you have it. There's not really much to say. It's a bunch of legends involved. And I think it was pretty successful. I think John Barry, it was one of his most successful soundtracks.
Right. And yeah, also I would say that this is the most well known
Yeah,
Probably the most well-known Bond song. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, maybe Skyfall now.
Yeah, Skyfall, right? That was Adele, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
But that's only because of recency bias.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
We'll talk about it again in another 50 years.
sorry?
We'll talk about it again in another 50 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Pretty classic soundtrack.
Yeah,
Legends all around.
exactly.
I would say George Martin qualifies as an absolute legend.
Oh yeah,
You know,
undoubtedly.
obviously, fucking Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones are no need to get into that.
Their
Although
legend
I will say
status.
that Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones appear to be uncredited. It is, or at least Jimmy Page is. This is only based on John Paul Jones's saying so that they were on the
Yeah,
soundtrack.
he claimed that they were on there, so maybe he could be misremembering.
Well, he was asked that in a Rolling Stone interview, were you on the soundtrack? He said yes, and so was Jimmy.
Right. So I mean, yeah, there you have it.
Presumably they were. I see no reason to cast doubt on it.
When was the article written?
I don't know.
2016. 2016.
2016, yeah.
So
I
I don't
so I see no
know.
reason to doubt that's true.
I don't know. There's memory. There's a lot of drugs between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe. Probably more so Jimmy Page than John Paul Jones, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
yeah. Anyway, before this becomes the Crane Kick Commentaries Music Podcast, we should probably move on.
So we'll go straight into the production now.
Okay.
So the first two James Bond films, Doctor No and From Russia with Love, they were very successful in England. I don't know if we mentioned their budgets, um,
I
but
don't know
they
if we
were
did, yeah.
but they were both pretty low budget movies.
Hmm.
Both under $1 million, maybe around $1 million, which I mean,
Really?
for the time, I suppose it's still low budget, but it's
I mean, I
more
have the inflation calculator open. We can figure that out.
figure it out. Yeah, let's find out.
Okay, what's the year?
It was the first one was 1961.
Yeah. How much money?
$1 million. Just I think it was like 800 plus 200 for marketing.
That's eight point. Sorry, eight. No, that can't be. Oh no, 8.7 million. Yeah.
8.7 million.
Yeah.
So
So that's
look
still
up
pretty cheap.
look
Sorry.
up the budget for the most recent James Bond film.
Oh yeah, obviously. What was the most recent James Bond film? Spectre?
I don't
Is that
know.
it?
Yeah, is it Spectre? Look up for Spectre at least. It's recent enough.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Is Spectre honestly the most? Jeez, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while since there's.
I mean, a while being like 6 years.
No, I think there was a more recent one than Spectre because Spectre was the Adele one.
No, Skyfall was the Adele one.
Oh right. So yeah, it must be Spectre.
All right. Anyway, Spectre was $245 million.
Holy
So yeah, a lot more.
So there you go. Yeah,
Like 20 times more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, Spectre was the last one. Yeah, there's one
All
coming
right.
out in 2021.
Is there?
Yeah,
Is it
no,
gonna have Daniel Craig in it?
yeah. It's. I thought
I don't
like
know.
the
He's
last
he's
two
still
were
going.
supposed to be his last ones, weren't they?
Yeah. We'll see.
Anyway, yeah. So what we were talking about, the first two films were very successful in England, but they wanted to, break into the American market, which they hadn't really done. The books had more so than the movies at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Broken into the American market. So they needed to make a movie to tap that.
Right.
So they get. I think it's the same scriptwriter, Richard Maybaum,
Mm-hmm.
for the first two. I'm just gonna make sure that that's
Uh,
correct.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is correct. He wrote the
Okay.
first two. Um, so he writes the script, and there's a few changes from the book.
Hmm.
The one that stood out to me was that in the book originally, apparently Goldfinger is supposed to steal the gold, as
He's supposed
opposed
to
to
what?
just he's supposed to steal it, as opposed to just
From Fort Knox.
yeah, from Fort Knox, as opposed to just irradiate it. He was actually going to
Okay, presumably they did the back of the envelope calculations that James Bond does in the movie and figures out that
exactly.
that's preposterous.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It would take 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So they bring in another guy named Paul Den to do a treatment. Apparently, Sean Connery didn't like that treatment, so Maybaum comes back. As we know, this sort of thing happens endlessly.
Endlessly, absolutely.
Um, but in this book I was reading, it said like comparatively to the first couple of scripts or the first couple of movies, this one was the first one that was written kind of tongue in cheek.
Hmm.
Um, and it was kind of like it was a departure from the book James Bond.
Right. And,
Uh,
and the movies continue to get more and more preposterous
yeah,
afterwards.
exactly. Thunderball.
Up until the point, I guess, when Daniel Craig came in.
Yeah, this movie's the first movie like James Bond is like straight up indestructible.
Yeah.
Like the closest he gets is that like laser scene
Yeah.
where it's gonna like
But then he's just like, Operation Grand Slam.
yeah, he just
And
talks
they're
his way
like,
out of it
okay, whatever.
pretty
You know,
easily.
you probably overheard that, but we can't take the chance. And, then he's like, well, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and they were trying to be funny in this script. Like they put that scene in the opening with the bird on his head, and like
Yeah.
they just wrote way more jokes for him. I think.
Hmm.
I don't think the Ian Fleming James Bond was particularly funny. I think he had like slick one liner, like throwaway one liners,
Right.
but I don't think he was like cracking jokes all the time.
Right. Okay.
Not
I
that
don't know.
James
Were the
Bond is.
were the one-liners as like fucking gross as they were in this movie?
Probably not. Maybe. I like we said, we've never read the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also just the scripted basic shit like update the like originally that laser that we were talking about is it's just like a buzz saw in the book, so
Right. Yeah.
they make it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I imagine as they went ahead, they had to keep updating them, like especially like fucking Moonraker or whatever. Like, I'm
yeah,
sure that the booked version was much different than the movie.
yeah, I bet. I don't. Yeah, I think so. The first two movies were directed by a guy named Terrence Young.
Hmm.
Um, so when it came time for the third movie, Terrence Young wanted a percentage of ownership or whatever, as
Yeah, and
opposed
they
to
were
just
like,
his
"Fuck
salary.
that."
Yeah, they were just like, no. Yeah, so they fired him.
Naturally. Fucking creative people want like a fucking cut, fuck that,
Wants to
like,
become like it's successful, and we've got a much bigger budget now, and he wants more money. The audacity.
yeah, we could easily find somebody else, right?
So they did. They
Right.
hired Guy Hamilton.
I see. Guy Hamilton, like, he did a lot of the movies afterwards as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he stuck around. And he did like some similar kind of stuff before James Bond, so he was like pretty right for the role, I think.
Hmm. What
Um,
had he done before?
let's
I know at
see.
least one movie he did
Okay,
afterwards.
he did The Ringer, was his first movie.
Hmm?
Intruder, Inspector Calls. What movie did he do afterwards?
Oh, well, Battle of Britain, because it was mentioned in 6 Degrees.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, of course. Um, so he did three other Bond movies after
Hmm.
Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they start filming January of 1964.
Hmm.
Um, and they start in Florida with that hotel scene, which is a great introduction to
Yeah,
Goldfinger's.
so they actually did go to Florida to film that?
Yeah, they filmed it like because they've got that helicopter shot of the hotel. I forget what the hotel is
Right.
called. It's not important, but
Yeah, I feel
um,
like they wasted their money.
a little bit, huh?
Yeah, because
Well, because the
there's
interior
very little
is
about that shot that is like very Florida-y.
well, because the interior with like because so when they go to Miami, they don't have any of the main cast because Sean Connery's shooting Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Right.
Um, and Gert, how do you pronounce his name again?
I think you'll find it is pronounced Gert Fruba.
One more time, so
Fruba because there's a fucking umlaut and that's
because the
how it
umlaut.
goes.
Yeah. So he was busy as well. So it's just the crew, and the guy who plays Felix. They fly to Miami and they do that exterior helicopter shot, um,
Mm,
where a guy named Al Coffey dives off of the diving board.
right.
That's all I could find out about Al Coffey. I was kind of hoping he would be like a diver, and I was almost thinking about doing the truth, like based on
Right, but
him.
it
But
turns out that nobody knows anything.
nah, that was the only dive he did
Mm,
that was notable. Um, but yeah, so like you say, it seems like kind of a waste because
yeah, because then they do the rest of the scene clearly with the two main cast members.
and it's like it's in a
Yeah,
studio.
so why not you shoot the whole thing in the studio and then just get some stock footage of somebody flying over Miami?
Yeah, it seems like a real waste of money.
Why fly the whole crew to Miami? I don't get
So
it.
yeah, and then this is like the you get your mascot for the film too, Jill Masterson or whatever her name was,
Yeah, Jill Masterson.
who gets coated in gold by Goldfinger.
Yes, and she dies because of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they say that she dies of quote unquote skin suffocation, right?
Yes. Cause cause yeah, circus performers they have to leave a little patch at the base of their spine so as to let their skin
Yes.
breathe.
So, you know, if you were wondering if this is a real thing, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, suffocation sounds a bit ridiculous. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I actually looked into this. Um, so like there it's not great to like cover your entire skin
well, it's
because
toxic. It like leaches in.
well also like you might get heat stroke because it prevents you from being able to sweat.
Right.
But yeah, like you breathe through your mouth and nose, so it's like
Skin
it's
suffocation.
pretty odd the idea that you would suffocate through, you know.
Yeah, and like the whole thing that throws it off is the leaving the like patch free at the base of the spine. Like what?
Well, yeah, it's just bizarre because like they talk about it like it's a real thing that like, you know, oh, all these cabaret dancers do this anyway, right? But it's just
Yeah,
something they completely fucking made up.
it's really weird.
Yeah, like,
Like why couldn't he also just have poisoned her and then painted her
well,
gold?
no, because the painting with gold has to be the way that he killed her. Because he just loves gold.
He killed her with gold.
He had to kill her with gold.
I feel like it would have made the exact same point if he had just painted her gold after killing her.
I don't know. He just loves gold.
So the next thing they do, because they still don't have their actors, so they fly down to Fort Knox, um, to get some shots.
Hmm.
Um, they got a firm no in terms of filming at the Treasury.
Right. Yeah, because naturally I assume that that is a restricted area.
Yeah, yeah, that was a
Specifically to prevent thugs like Eric Goldfinger from,
breaking into Fort Knox
getting in
and
there and, yeah,
irradiating the gold supply.
irradiating all the gold.
Yeah. So, but however, the army was quite interested in helping. Um,
Hmm.
and they Albert Broccoli or something was friends with this old retired general or something, I forget. But he I forget what his name was, but he was their guide basically.
Hmm.
So they went down to Fort Knox. Yeah, and they got all the aerial and ground shots with like all the troops falling asleep, and those were real troops. They had access to real troops.
Those
And
were real
actual,
troops.
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
That's kind of cool because I thought it was interesting when they were doing it. It's like how in unison everybody just falls over.
yeah. Like that's actually a really great scene
Yeah,
with
it
the
really looks
airplanes
good.
flying over.
So
And
is that actually at Fort Knox?
yeah, that whole
Okay.
sequence with the airplanes flying over and the all the soldiers falling over is all shot at Fort Knox. On
But it's not actually
location.
at the actual depository is not shown.
No, yeah, the actual scene at the depository was shot in the UK.
Right. Yeah, presumably because I'm sure they can't let any cameras anywhere near there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was definitely a no-go.
Yeah, they don't want to like show everybody like, yeah, this is how you break into Fort Knox.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, this is where all the doors are, and this is how to get into where the gold is.
yeah. The one thing though that I was a bit confused by though is that when they explode that gate,
Mm.
I'm not sure how they did that. I was trying to figure that out.
What, you think they didn't just use actual pyrotechnics?
Well, I don't know. I guess, but just would they have let them do that there?
Well, that probably wasn't at Fort Knox.
Right, that was just some building. But there
Yeah.
was like this whole big exterior shot of like the whole area around it. It looked like a army base. It was weird,
Right.
but it might have just been a different building.
Yeah, I think it was probably a different building.
Yeah.
Because didn't they rebuild, like, a section of it to make it look like Fort
Yeah,
Knox?
well, so the production designer, who had been the production designer on the first two movies as well, I believe, is a guy named
Hmm.
Ken Adams. Um, and he did some pretty good work in this movie, I think.
Well,
'Cause-
didn't Ken Adam work on, like, a ton of James Bond stuff?
Yeah, I think he was like the long time production designer. Let's just find some information about him. What? That's so weird. I just searched Ken Adams into Wikipedia and I don't know, something happened.
It's Ken Adam. It's not Ken Adams.
Right, my mistake.
I think that's the confusion.
Well, anyway, somehow I'm on the Wikipedia page for Joey Tribbiani, redirected from Ken Adams.
I just,
What does that mean?
what is the crossover?
That's his alias? That's his alias in the show.
I don't remember that, but okay. Oh, Ken Adam, notable for also having worked on Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Very similar vibe.
Yes,
a lot of ways.
definitely. I mean, yeah.
He turned down
What, 2001?
2001.
Yeah. Presumably because that would have been a huge commitment and people want time to do other things.
Yeah, anyway, so he builds, Ken Adam builds this massively impressive Fort Knox facade and interior.
Right. So presumably that's where they did the blowing up the gate at the facade.
No, because that was in the studio. So like the scene where they're like they blow open the. So I'm not talking about when they open the door with the laser.
No, I know that part.
Yeah,
But I'm saying
that's in studio. That's what he built.
So not the part where they blow up the gate. That wasn't part of it.
I don't think maybe, but it was like an aerial shot.
Oh, don't they show it just pointing at the gate?
No, there's like an aerial shot of the gate blowing up.
Really?
But yeah, so they create this, and the interior of the gold depository is pretty impressive looking.
Right.
It's massive.
Oh yeah. We're with all the fake gold bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It looks really good.
And that cost like $100,000. It was one of the most expensive
Right.
production.
Presumably they didn't fill with actual gold
I think it would
because that
cost a
would have
bit
been more
more than
expensive.
$100,000.
Unless he just rented the gold.
Can you rent that much gold?
I don't know. Can you rent gold? Presumably.
I
I don't
mean,
know why you would just rent gold bars though.
yeah, I mean, in its a capitalist society, you could probably rent anything. But why?
There doesn't seem to be much point to renting a bar of gold.
I mean, for movies, you could rent a fake one.
Yeah, a fake one, but then like, why would you use a real one?
So if I'm not mistaken, this movie is the first appearance of the Aston Martin,
Mm.
which
Yes,
is
because I believe it when he's getting the Aston Martin, he asks Q, um, "Where's my Bentley?"
yeah, because he traditionally drives a Bentley in the books.
Yes. Was there some kind of product placement deal, or like, did
I
somebody write to fucking Ian Fleming saying that he should fucking drive a Aston Martin? Because I know that like Ian Fleming actually was like fairly receptive to like fan mail.
Oh, really?
So you know how James Bond like the gun he uses is a Walther PPK?
Yeah.
Apparently, originally James Bond used a Beretta, which is what Ian Fleming used when he was in the Navy.
Right.
But somebody wrote to him and was like, a Beretta is like a really shitty gun. It doesn't have the stopping power of a Walther PPK or whatever. And James Bond should use that instead.
That's funny.
And so, Ian Fleming like took the advice and changed it in the later books.
That's funny that you should mention that because in the book that I was reading, it like said something about how he didn't know very much about ballistics,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and he had to defer to other people for that.
So yeah, I find it funny that he was like very very willing to just like listen to the fans.
To like and actually change shit. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they must have had a deal with Aston Martin because it was custom built for the movie.
Right. Okay.
Obviously,
And ever since James Bond has always driven Aston Martins.
yeah, that's his signature
Although
car
except
now.
he drove BMWs for a period in the 1990s.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
I mean, it's back.
Presumably because BMW paid them more money.
Yeah, well, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but there was like a lot of gadgets. This is like the first like super gadgety Bond as well. Like the first
Right.
two
Yes.
weren't as gadget heavy. Like he's got the tracker in this one, the radar,
Mm-hmm.
the car itself. What was on the car? They had the smoke bomb.
Well, they had the blades on the wheels,
yeah, the blade on the wheel
which he uses to fucking run someone off the road
for no
and nearly
reason.
kills her.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, to be fair, she tried to shoot him.
oh, that was after? That's right. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
fair enough. No, fair enough. But
Although, oh no, this is just making me remember, like, he like fucking runs her off the road, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna drive you to like the nearest garage, right?"
yeah,
And then she grabs his suitcase, and he's like, "What's in there? A rifle? I had a case just like that."
yeah.
And then she's like, "No, it's my ice skates."
My ice skates.
But it just fucking bothers me because like there's no way a fucking pair of skates would fit in that box.
No, it doesn't look like it's a long, thin box.
Yeah. I mean like
Dainty,
leave it to us Canadians to like get mad about that. But
About the box
like
not fitting ice skates. maybe dainty figure skates. It's
The
possible.
daintiest of dainty figure skates, like
But
fucking normal figure skates, would not fit in there.
just like the length and width thing doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
it's like it's clearly a fucking gun.
Or something of that sort.
I mean, I guess to be fair, like James Bond is having none of it.
Yeah, he's like,
Like he clearly knows.
yeah.
But anyway,
The car, yeah.
continuing.
Uh,
So he had the blades on his wheels. He had like the bulletproof like thing that came up. He had the ejector seats.
the ejector seat, I think, is the only thing that didn't actually function. Like, obviously, the gun in the front didn't function, but it could be made to look like it was shooting because they like routed gas to it, so it like looked like
Right.
it was shooting. With the smoke bomb, they had they just put like put it in the tailpipe.
Mm.
And even it originally had like a nail ejector where it like dropped a bunch of nails to pop tires, but asked it
Popped
wasn't
like tires and shit.
yeah,
Hmm.
but it wasn't included in the movie because it might give kids quote unquote bad inspirations.
That's a weird thing in this movie to take issue with, given the other shit.
Exactly. There's like a bunch of bad stuff in this movie. Oh yeah, the last detail about the car is the stuntman who drove it is a guy named Bob Simmons,
Mm-hmm.
who is like one of the most legendary stuntmen in Hollywood. He did all
Legendary stunt drivers.
yeah.
What else was he in?
I don't know. He was always James Bond stuntman. But
Let's see.
specifically, he's the only guy who is not also the lead actor to play James Bond in that opening scene with the gun. Where James Bond like
Oh yeah, really?
turns and shoots the gun barrel.
Mm-hmm.
In Goldfinger, that's Bob Simmons, not Sean Connery.
Hmm. Wait. So was he was just the driver? Or he was generally his stunt double in.
He was both.
Okay.
Around this point is when the cast gets brought in. So you get Sean Connery, you get
Fuba.
Frube.
Get Fuba.
Get Frube.
Yeah. You have it in the notes, but you didn't put the umlaut on the O.
No, I didn't have time for special characters. Frube. Get Frube.
Fuba.
Yeah, so he was brought in to play Goldfinger. And Goldfinger, the character, is named after an architect, a Hungarian architect
Yes, I think I saw this actually.
named Erno Goldfinger,
Right.
who Ian Fleming apparently hated his work.
Really? So he made him the fucking villain?
So he just took his name for the villain.
Right.
But there don't seem to be any similarities between the real Goldfinger and the character Goldfinger.
Right. Okay.
Here, it says Goldfinger was known as a humorless man given to notorious rages.
Really? Well, is there a specific building that he did that was like, that Ian Fleming didn't like?
I didn't mention, but I'm just trying to find any building that he did.
He apparently built something in. He built some things in the UK.
Trellick Tower. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not a good looking building.
Yeah, it looks very 1960s.
Yeah, it's like kind of brutalist, but like
No, but it's like not. It's like way more. It looks too impractical to be brutalist.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, like, yeah, it's not good.
yeah, it's strange. It's definitely strange. But yeah, so apparently Ian Fleming was not a fan,
No,
and so made the villain named after him.
Ugh, yeah, I really hate his stuff. I agree. I'm
Yeah.
on board.
So you were also telling me something that you noticed about Goldfinger, who he looked like.
Oh, yes. He reminds me so much of former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. It's very uncanny, the resemblance.
Eh,
So for those of you who don't live in Toronto, Rob Ford was a fairly controversial, shall we say, former Toronto mayor.
Yeah, yeah. Toronto's crack smoking mayor.
Toronto's crack smoking. Yeah,
Interesting period in Toronto's history.
yeah. So look him up. He does look quite a bit like Goldfinger.
Yeah, similar expression, similar bewildered expression.
Hmm. Although presumably Goldfinger wasn't, smoking the crack pipe.
No, Goldfinger is definitely more coherent. And his
Yeah.
ideas make more sense. Yeah, also apparently all his lines were redubbed. Even
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like watching the movie, they all seem like very odd.
yeah. I think it was him who did the dubbing though.
Right? Was he just like not very coherent on set or something?
I guess so. I didn't specify that it was him, but I kind of assumed it was him that did the dubbing.
Yeah,
but,
you'd assume.
but I guess would they have credited someone if they dubbed his voice?
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, presumably it was him that did it because like he was in other movies where he spoke English.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he spoke English, yeah.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying the actor was.
Yeah.
So it's like clearly the actor spoke English well enough.
Yeah, I don't know. So he was also, funny enough, it wasn't the first film that Gert Fröbe and Sean Connery had been in together.
Wooba.
Fröbe. Gert Fröbe.
Just imagine it's like Froob.
Fröbe.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
Fröbe. They were both in The Longest Day,
Okay.
which is a good movie.
I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, it's a really good movie.
Okay, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, so they were both in that together. So then you also have the female casting is just like reading about how they did it. It's just so horrible.
Yeah, what did they do?
I mean, just like Honor Blackman, who has played Pussy Galore.
Mm-hmm.
Which have we even taken a second to talk about the name Pussy Galore?
No, I think that's self-evident.
Like, come on.
Yeah, like it's preposterous.
It is. It's just come on. Anyway,
Yeah.
she was hired because she was in the Avengers TV show.
Okay.
And the book I was reading said that Albert Broccoli was particularly fond of the outfit she wore in that show.
Okay.
So there you go. But so also apparently Pussy was gay in the books.
Oh yeah.
She was like a butch lesbian.
So then, how did James Bond possibly convince her to like?
I don't know. I haven't read the book. We could find out.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessary.
No, it's not. But they were concerned, like that they would get censored.
Right.
So they concocted this fucking harebrained scheme to see if the public would accept the name Pussy Galore.
So they were worried about the name Pussy Galore.
Yeah, they were worried it was gonna get cut, so they even
like I don't understand how he didn't.
nor do I. But they were
Yeah.
the backup was Kitty Galore. They were gonna call her.
So in the book, she was named Pussy Galore?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So stupid.
You dirty fucking... you like... Dirty
Yeah.
old man.
Yeah.
You fucking...
Seriously.
Ian Fleming.
Yep. So this scheme that they cooked up. So the PR guy is a guy named Tom Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
He took Honor Blackman to a charity event that Prince Philip was supposed to attend. I think it was Prince Philip.
Mm-hmm.
So while they were there, Tom Carlisle managed to get them into a photo together.
Uh-huh.
So then, what he did with that photo...
With Prince Philip.
With Prince Philip, yeah. So he gave an exclusive story to a newspaper on the condition that they print the subtitle Pussy and the Prince.
Right. Wait, did they use the whole name, Pussy Galore?
No, just the subtitle was Pussy and the Prince.
Well, okay, I think there's a big difference.
But I'm sure in the article, they were like, who plays Pussy Galore in the upcoming James Bond film.
Right, okay,
But
I see.
the title was Pussy and the Prince.
Right, because I feel like there's a big difference between just using pussy and going full on Pussy Galore. You know, I think there's a big difference there.
There is, yes, but apparently the galore was not the issue because they just changed it. They were just going to change it to Kitty.
Right, okay.
So, but there was no one seemed to care about the Pussy and the Prince article. So the producers decided it was fine, so they just went ahead with it. And it clearly turned out to be fine, except everybody who watches it and sees it is like, wait, really?
Like everybody ever. Like,
there's not one person who's
wait, what?
Really?
Yeah? Okay. I guess.
That's pretty straight. Like, that's on the nose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, that's, in terms of production, like, they shot mostly in Pinewood Studios at the UK, which is, like, a famous...
Yeah, where everything ever is shot in the UK.
Yeah. And that's where they did the car chase scene. They were, like,
We did it in the studio?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. But obviously at, like, an increased frame rate to make it look a little more...
You can tell.
Yeah. It's got that feeling to it. Towards the end, so July 1964, they go to Switzerland for 5 days to get that car chase sequence, which is interesting.
You're saying where when fucking James Bond runs
Tilly
Masterson off the road,
off
right?
the road, yeah. The book I was reading claimed the white Mustang in that car chase was the first of its kind seen in Europe.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that. I mean, maybe.
Maybe because it's like the Mustang's like an American car.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have them in Europe.
I guess so. But, like, what's the deal with Tilly Masterson?
Yeah, also, like, what the fuck is the entire point of her character? It seems like it's gonna be a subplot, and then it just goes nowhere, and she dies.
Yeah, it is. It's nothing.
Like, very soon after being introduced.
Like, I guess it's supposed to get dark, but, like, her whole character is terrible.
I'm gonna guess that there's something in the book that goes into more detail.
You're probably right.
And then it just didn't, like, get adapted fully.
Yeah, the characters were so hollow in the movie.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, like there's this thing that happened earlier in the movie with Jill Masterson, and now her sister is out for revenge.
Yeah,
and it's like, that seems like a subplot that's going somewhere, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah, then she just instantly dies.
And then she just dies, and that's it.
Yeah, and you don't hear anything from the Mastersons ever again.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what the book, what's in the book about that.
Yeah, anyone
because
who's
I suspect
read the book,
that there's more to it there.
Yeah,
because otherwise
it must be.
Yeah, it's like, why would you write it that way? First of all, and then when you're adapting it, why bother adapting that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but like also it's another case of like, somebody meets James Bond in the first half of the movie and then they're dead.
Yeah, like,
this is like a really common occurrence, and it's like if I ever met James Bond, like I would run and fucking hide because I know I'd be dead by the end of the movie.
Yeah, shots are gonna start fucking flying, or hats in Jill's case, or
Yeah,
Tilly's
exactly.
case. Sorry.
Sorry, Tilly. Yeah, because Jill was killed by the gold paint.
Yeah, she skins died of skin suffocation.
Skin suffocation, yeah.
Tilly got. It's kind of unclear if she got her throat cut by the hat.
No, I think it was just the blunt trauma.
Blunt trauma to the neck.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe it fucking crushed her fucking...
Windpipe and she died instantly.
Exactly.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
But yeah, both Mastersons are dead. Who else dies?
Oh, I mean, in this film, I think it's just those two.
Half the Bond women die, though.
Yeah,
Generally.
I think in this film it's just those two, but
Yeah.
it's a very common thing throughout the franchise.
Yeah.
And, you know, it didn't stop at any point. Like, it still happens in the more recent films, too.
Yeah, they all die. It's weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. So yeah, we're basically done with production.
Right.
Could move on to there's some issues with Goldfinger's plan.
Some.
There's a plethora of issues with
Yeah, I
Goldfinger's
mean-
plan.
I feel like this comes with the territory of being like a fucking, you know, criminal mastermind. I feel like not all of them are fully mentally stable.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like Goldfinger does a lot of things that are like either unnecessary or just like defy logic.
Yep. Yep.
And I mean, to be fair, you know, he doesn't succeed.
No, he fails. He comes
Yeah,
pretty
like-
close, but as we mentioned in the last episode, he's pretty close.
Yeah, like all it takes is for fucking Pussy Galore to like
Not flip.
not flip, and then everything's. Although to be fair, it also took like there were plenty of times where like they could have just fucking arrested Goldfinger that they didn't.
Yeah, it's true, but they wanted to wait till.
They wanted to wait, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they really fucking were all like just fucking relying on Pussy Galore flipping.
She is the real hero of this movie.
Really, yeah, like he would have gotten away with it if not for that meddling pilot.
Yeah. And like
Like
even then she's so important to the plot. She could have just not done it. It's so weird.
yeah, it's true.
She could have just not dropped. I guess then they couldn't have arrested him for doing it.
Yeah.
But they didn't arrest
Yeah.
him. He died.
Oh shit! Because yeah,
He got away at first.
sucked out of the plane.
Yeah, he got away, and then he tried to kill Bond.
Why did they even bother to like let him attempt the whole thing at Fort Knox?
Exactly. Like, why
Didn't they just? They got the confession from Pussy Galore that he was going to try something. So why didn't she just not drop the nerve gas and they could all arrest him?
Yeah, they put fake nerve gas, I guess.
Yeah, or nothing.
Like,
They just flew the planes pretending that there was nerve gas in it.
like why?
Yeah. You know, fucking Goldfinger said he spent like the last, 10 to 15 years of his life planning Operation Grand Slam?
Yeah.
Like, he clearly, like, forgot or a bunch of things, or just, like, you know, it relied on a lot of fucking contingencies that, like, all had to go perfectly.
Yeah, it was such a elaborate, convoluted plan. There's
Yeah,
so many
so,
moving
like,
parts.
let's go ahead and, like, start with, like, you know, one of the most obvious things, which is, like, what was with the whole murdering all the mob bosses?
Yeah, like, and explaining his plans to them.
Yeah, so it's like, first of all, he gathered all these mob bosses at his place.
And it's kind of unclear. Like, they helped import all the stuff that was necessary.
Yeah, they helped get everything together. They were part of his scheme, and he was like, he was going to pay them all $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, I'm going to pay you all $10 million. And then he, like, explains his scheme, and then he kills them all.
Yeah, like...
And it's like, why bother explaining your whole fucking scheme?
Yeah,
and then just murdering them. Why not just kill them all now? And why kill them all? Because I feel like that's a big liability.
That's a huge liability. Like, they're like all of America's top crime bosses, and you're just gonna kill them all at once. Like, that's gonna like leave a huge power vacuum and like, make you kind of. I mean, I guess maybe not.
A target?
I feel like it would make you a target, but like,
I feel like you would make you a target. Yeah.
But I guess maybe if you killed every single one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is a lot of the kind of shit that, like, Austin Powers makes fun of.
Yeah, no, I honestly, this movie Goldfinger is like it's prime Austin Powers territory.
Well, I mean, that's why they had fucking
Goldmember, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of those movies that is like doesn't age well and is a bit over the top for.
What, the Austin Powers ones?
Yeah, but there is a lot of like hilarious on the fucking nose satire that really captures this movie in particular.
Well, yeah, like some of it's just like
it is literally lifted.
It's just so ripe for like, satire.
Like the scene in the opening where he sees the reflection of the dude about to hit him in the back of the head in the woman's eye. Like they use that exact scene in Austin Powers, and it's hilarious.
Well, and Odd Job, don't they have the other character Random Task? Who is like a parody of Odd Job?
Yeah, right.
But instead of throwing a hat, he throws a shoe.
There's some good stuff in there in those movies. You just have to.
Maybe we'll cover one of those movies at some point.
Yeah, you just have to sift through some of the other stuff.
There's some good old Canadian boys in those.
Yeah. The same good old Canadian boy over and over again.
One good old Canadian boy.
Yeah. Over and over again.
Yeah, in multiple roles.
Yeah. But yeah. How do we get into that?
Well, we were talking about all the stupid shit in Goldfinger's plan.
Right, yeah.
And then how Austin Powers kind of makes fun of that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, restricted airspace over Fort Knox. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like... So, how did Pussy Gallard's planes not all get shot down immediately?
Yeah, they all just started flying over Fort Knox. Yeah, like fucking right.
Like, I know, obviously... Before that, she told the fucking army that this was going to happen and that she was in on it.
Yeah, so...
But it's like, Goldfinger just thought that they were going to let them through?
Yeah, just let them fly over Fort Knox?
Yeah, like...
No way.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to fly over any army base.
Yeah, I know. It seems a bit sketch.
Many holes in Goldfinger's plan.
Yeah. And then, like, also, he's flying into the United States with Bond prisoner. And then what? Does he have to go through immigration?
He just landed at his estate.
No, he didn't. They said he landed at Baltimore Airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they specifically said it was a port of entry. It means he would have had to go through immigration.
So, what?
He would have had to get his passport stamped.
Because that's how they knew that he was there. That's right.
Yeah, no. They said he was. Well, they knew he was there because of the tracker as well. But they would have found out. And was Goldfinger just thinking that this wasn't going to happen and they were just going to let him go through anyway?
Yeah. Well, but he's clearly aware because he's a smuggler.
Yeah. He should know about these things.
But it clearly didn't matter.
Yeah. And they figured it out. Like, also, like, how did he know Bond wasn't going to have a tracker?
Yeah. You'd think he would assume that they're going to know where their guy is. One way or another. And they do. It's so weird.
They do. They figure it out. And then they don't do anything because they're just like, oh, yeah, Bond has the situation handled.
He's with a woman. He's got it under control.
And he totally doesn't. He
No,
just gets lucky.
yeah, he gets because his pussy galore saves the day.
Exactly.
It's a shit show. Yeah, no, that's really.
I don't know.
The whole organization is really a shit show.
Yeah. Also, just one interesting thing I noticed that was bizarre to me is that Goldfinger, all his companies and all his properties, he uses his first name
I noticed that as well.
for them. It's like Auric Enterprises, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's not.
I
a
mean, I
thing.
guess that's just a little strange, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess Goldfinger
It's
would
not
be
Goldfinger Enterprises.
wouldn't that be more? Wouldn't that make so much more sense? Like he's openly
I don't know.
obsessed with gold.
Yeah, maybe it was just too on the nose.
Gold, like, wouldn't that just be better for even for the movie sake? Goldfinger Enterprises.
I don't fucking know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think our Goldfinger defies all logic.
Yeah, that's another reason he is lumped in with Rob Ford.
Yeah.
All right, well, should we move on?
Yeah, I guess.
Is there any more? Is there more issues with Goldfinger's plan? I'm sure there are.
Surely, but I don't know if we need to get into them. So, but I think there's a thing we gotta address.
Yeah, there's something we got to talk about.
So something we gotta get to the bottom of, right?
Yeah, we got to find out.
Find a something. All right. Welcome to the truth. This is where we find some facet of this piece of cinema. we dig to the bottom of it.
We get
you
to
know.
the bottom.
We get to the bottom. We either go off the deep end or not, I guess.
Or stay firmly in the shallow end.
Stay firmly in the shallows. I don't know where are we going this week.
This is a shallow end episode.
Okay.
Don't worry. There's no
aliens?
no aliens this week.
Okay.
This week,
Okay.
I figured. Okay, we talked
No
about
invisible Navy ships.
no. I mean, I really was hoping. There's a couple things I was like looking into that I was like really hoping were true.
Right.
Like, I mean, no one's tried to break into Fort Knox, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I assume it would just be a bad idea.
Then I thought maybe gold smuggling, but I mean, it just was too. There was some interesting stuff, but nothing close enough to the movie. But so what we're gonna look at this week is I mentioned last episode, that when Ian Fleming was in the military, he during World War II, he started an intelligence unit that is called Number 30 Commando.
That name sounds very, very above board.
What do you mean?
No, it just seems like some kind of like Black Ops like situation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. It was like they had 30 Marines, 30 Armies, 30 Air Force, just like groups of 30. And it was like a special intelligence unit, and they would like drop in behind enemy lines and do covert operations. Ian Fleming wasn't like on the ground or anything.
No.
But he organized stuff and was involved. And so for the truth, I thought we'd take a look at an alleged, because so it's all classified obviously because it's military World War II stuff.
Right. So did they blow up the bridge on the River Kwai?
Yes.
Did they?
No, no, maybe. But there's only one like document that is like apparently been declassified, but or not declassified because you still need special permission to look at it.
Right.
But there's one document about them that there was like two books that have been written about this unit based on this one document.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so one of these books compares a a operation that the 30 commandos undertook with an operation that was written about by John Steinbeck
Oh,
when he was
okay.
a military correspondent.
Was he?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read a couple excerpts from that because it's kind of interesting. Their operation. Okay, so the John Steinbeck article was called "Somewhere in the Mediterranean War Theater." There's a little island very close to the mainland near Naples, which has on it a very large torpedo works, one of the largest in Italy. When Italy had surrendered, the Germans took the island, mined it thoroughly, and ran the detonating wires under the water to the mainland so that they could blow up the torpedo works if it seemed likely to be captured. The Germans left a few guards, heavily armed, and they also left an Italian admiral and his wife as sort of hostage to the explosives planted all over the little island. To a small Anglo-American naval force, a curious order came. One single torpedo boat was to take on some British commandos who were to go ashore in secrecy, cut the wires to the mainland, kill the German guards, and evacuate the Italian admiral and his wife.
Mm.
So according to Steinbeck, that all went down in under an hour with no shots fired. Um, but this book goes on to compare it with an actual mission that allegedly comes from that document.
Mm-hmm.
So the real life admiral's name was Eugenio Minicini. But the torpedo works were not on an island, and there were no German guards to assassinate, and no wires to snip, as in Steinbeck's telling. In real life, Minici was in the head of an Italian naval underwater engineering, working on a new magnetic pistol, which is a kind of proximity fuse for torpedoes. As well as he was designing a submersible assault craft and midget submarines.
Okay.
So basically, they, like, as you're saying with Operation Paperclip or whatever.
So they were trying to kidnap this guy because he was like useful to them,
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
Huh. Because he could design all sorts of, nice gadgets that James Bond might use.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I don't know how reliable this book is, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seems like a bit of a sketchy book, but
Well, I mean, nobody can actually check out the original information to figure out what it says,
yeah,
right?
you need special permission to read
Really,
the document.
It's still classified to this day.
I think so.
Right. I guess the British government is like, fairly tight on those things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like still sensitive. I'm sure they did some pretty questionable shit.
Right.
Dropping into enemy territory during World War II. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you never know what went down.
Stuff they don't want to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you have it. Just a little anecdote from the real life assault unit that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just that whole bit reminds me about the have you ever seen the film The Guns of Navarone?
No.
Well, it's about a basically a commando unit during World War II that basically has to sneak onto this Italian island. Or wait, is it an Italian island or is it a Greek island? But anyway, it's this uh island in the Mediterranean, and they need to like blow up these guns so that that it can be attacked.
Right. That sounds like a good movie.
It is a good movie. I have it on Laserdisc.
Sick.
So it's starring Gregory Peck, David Niven, and Anthony Quinn.
Oh, sick. David Niven.
But yeah,
I think. Is that the same guy? Hold on. I think David Niven was one of the guys who
yeah, he considered to be James Bond. Maybe?
Ian Fleming wanted him to play James Bond.
That's really funny to me.
That is hilarious.
I don't know. I feel like David Niven is like maybe not suave enough. I'm not sure.
He did actually play James Bond once.
He did.
Well, remember how I said there's two movies?
Oh, is it the Casino Royale?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
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 A weird 1967 Casino Royale movie.
It was like a sort of semi-comedy movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like old James Bond. And it was like implied that the Sean Connery James Bond was like the next generation, and that this James Bond was like the actual Ian Fleming James Bond.
But it wasn't done by like all the same people, right?
No, it was a different company.
Different production company,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, yeah, that was a interesting bit about Ian Fleming's World War II escapades, I suppose.
Oh yeah, so it's probably time for us to register some of our final thoughts.
Our final thoughts.
Yeah. What?
Let
Let me lay it on me.
go first, should I?
You lay it on me.
All right, obviously, this movie is a pretty classic James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it very much sets the tone for James Bond. And like, I would say like when I was growing up, obviously like this to me was like, typified James Bond. But I mean, also then again, when I was growing up, I was watching a lot of the Pierce Brosnan movies.
Yeah.
They were a bit more
Current.
Current for me and you as well, I suppose. But yeah, I think this movie's classic, but also like really kind of dumb.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah. It totally
like it typifies both like, everything that's enjoyable about James Bond, but also everything that's really fucking stupid.
Yeah, it does. It's like it's the fucking epitome of both things.
Yeah.
It is like it's the most refined James Bond I think there is in terms of
it's like the platonic ideal of James Bond.
Like what the pop culture idea of James Bond evolved into, that is the purest form.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like everything else was like either a play on this or like an evolution of this, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is kind of like, once again, this is we were talking about Austin Powers as well.
Exactly.
It's like, this is very clearly like the era of James Bond that Austin Powers is digging at.
Exactly. Yeah. And
it's like,
like we said, so many of the gags are just lifted. They're not even like adjusted.
Yeah, they're like barely like, they're barely elaborated.
Yeah. Like
they're they're basically just essentially
It's
like
just Mike Myers doing it.
it's because it's Mike Myers doing it. It seems more hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just the same thing.
It's the exact same bit.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like how this franchise continues.
Yeah, like it is pretty worn. It's hard to see how, as it exists, it can continue like this.
Yeah.
But we'll see. There's a new one coming
We'll
out.
see.
How it might address it differently.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, that's
pretty much what I got, pretty much what you got, yeah.
that's Goldfinger.
I guess we'll come back at you next week.
Goldfinger, he's the man with the Midas touch, a spider's touch, such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web.